Hello, this is class 13, assignment 9. There are 3 stories. The questions are posted on Google Classroom soon, along with this video. Let's start with the first story, cheese for breakfast. Once there was a fox, and it was morning time, and the fox was very hungry. She was looking for her breakfast, but she could not find any food anywhere. She was walking and she looked up into a tree and she saw a large crow sitting in the tree. And in the beak of the crow was some cheese, a piece of cheese. And she said, "Good morning, Mr. Crow. How are you?" And the crow looked down at the fox, but he did not open his mouth because he did not want to lose his cheese. "What a beautiful color you have," the fox continued. "What beautiful black eyes and wonderfully black feathers you have." The crow's eyes became very wide at the compliment from the fox, but again he kept his mouth shut because he wanted to eat the cheese. The fox continued and told the crow, "Mr. Crow, you're a very clever bird. I've seen you do many clever things in the forest. I think you are the king of all the birds in the forest." The crow really wanted to be the king of the birds, but he also really wanted to eat that cheese, and so he kept his mouth shut. And finally the fox said, "I know you are a beautiful and clever bird, Mr. Crow, but your song, I have never heard your song. Is your song beautiful?" The crow opened his mouth and started to sing his song. He wanted to show the fox his song was beautiful, and the cheese fell from his mouth into the waiting mouth of the fox beneath the tree. "Thank you very much, Mr. Crow. That was delicious. I was quite hungry this morning, and your cheese breakfast was great. And by the way, you are not really that beautiful, nor are you that clever." And the crow was very unhappy and hungry because he opened his mouth and lost his cheese breakfast. Finished. The next story is about Benjamin, and there is a question on Google Classroom for this story. Please explain what Benjamin's problem is and how Benjamin overcomes it. Right, here's the story. Last week, my friend Benjamin had a problem. Usually, Benjamin is a happy boy. He likes to play video games, and sometimes he plays in the park. But last week, Benjamin watched a television show. It made him very nervous, and he began to worry. In the show, many people were fighting, getting sick, losing their jobs, and a large truck had an accident on the highway, and many other vehicles were stuck behind it. That night, Benjamin began to worry. He worried about the people fighting. Maybe they'd get hurt. He worried about the sick people and thought they could die. He worried about the people losing their jobs, and he wondered if they would have enough money to buy food and pay rent. Benjamin worried about the accident on the highway. Maybe those people can't get home for dinner and their potatoes will become cold. Benjamin could not stop worrying. After dinner the next day, Benjamin was sitting outside his house, and in the yard of his house there was a very large tree, and he was looking at the tree and he began to worry. Maybe the tree will fall. Maybe the tree will fall on those cars in the street, or my friends are playing in the park. It could hurt someone. It could kill someone. He got up and he called to his friends in the park. Come here, he said. "The tree is dangerous. Maybe it's going to fall on you and hurt you. It might kill you." His friends in the park stopped playing and they walked over to Benjamin's house. They looked at the tree and then they looked at the very worried face of Benjamin, and a friend talked to Benjamin. "Look at the tree," he said. "It's beautiful. The tree has white flowers and soon new green leaves. Smell the flowers." Benjamin picked up a flower and smelt it. "Maybe someday the tree will fall, but today it's sunny and the snow is gone. Let's go play tag, Benjamin." Benjamin went inside and came out with his running shoes. He walked over to the park and he put his hands into the grass and felt the grass with his hands. And Benjamin's fear of the future disappeared in the park during the game of tag, and he no longer worries about things that do not at present nor may never happen. Finished. And that's the story of Benjamin. The final story deals with the 7 questions. This is story number 3. Margaret. Margaret is dead. Margaret died nearly 60 years ago in 1956. She was a young woman of 21 years old when she passed away. Her family owned a farm, and it was the middle of August. It was harvest time, and her family was very busy working, bringing in the crop. After harvest, Margaret was planning to travel to Germany before returning for her 4th year of university. She was studying to become a music teacher, and she wanted to go to Berlin, see the Berlin Wall, and then go to Paris. But instead, she died. Margaret was driving a tractor at night. She was driving down a very steep hill, and the tractor hit a rock, turned sharply to the left, and rolled over on top of her. Margaret's ghost did not go to her funeral. Instead, she boarded a plane to Germany, and she came back to her university apartment afterwards, as originally scheduled. In university, Margaret, when she was alive, had rented a room in a boarding house apartment, and it was to this room that Margaret's ghost returned. She also returned to her studies, and despite being dead, she finished her last year of university and became a qualified high school music teacher. The other residents of the boarding house, they moved out very quickly, one after another, because Margaret's ghost believed it was very important to practice the piano every day. With the exception of a return trip to Germany in 1989, Margaret's ghost never traveled abroad again. She stayed in the boarding house, which she thought of as her own house now. She regularly went to concerts and music lectures at the university. She went to the library to read books, and she took walks around the university campus in the evening. And every day at 2:30, she sat down and practiced the piano. Occasionally, a new person moved into her house, but they never seemed to stay long, and for the most part, people left her alone. After many years of being vacant, a family moved in next door. The family had a son, his name was Martin, and one day Margaret's ghost was practicing the piano when Martin knocked on her door. She invited him in and sat him on a large green chair, and Martin watched her play the piano. Then Margaret's ghost decided she was going to teach this boy to play the piano. She disguised a piano lesson as a game, and Martin loved the game. He came back the next day to play the game again and again and again the next day and the next. In a few months, Martin became a very good piano player. Finished. Please answer the questions on Google Classroom and include them in your essay. See you soon. Bye-bye.